All right, Dragons, it's Coach Cody. I wanted to talk to you about some cool things that are going on and trying to learn part of this game, and some of the things that you might see while watching this game. So, right now, Major League Baseball playoffs have just started. And so, as you're watching on television, you'll see a bunch of different stats and you'll hear people talking about a bunch of different things, for individual players and for teams as you go through and you're watching these Major League Baseball playoffs. So, what I thought would be cool is to go through and talk about some of the more common statistics that you may hear while you're watching these games, or in the future, if you're attending a game or you're reading a stat sheet or reading records or anything. So I am going to use our statistics, our team statistics so far through 10 games. So what you're seeing right now is our hitting and our pitching statistics through 10 games. Now, so remember, we've played 6 tournament games. We've had 3 competitions. We've had 1 preseason or a scrimmage game. And so first, let's get into hitting. So what you're seeing here with these 18 statistics, we'll walk through them pretty quickly. So a PA is a plate appearance. That is everything that anytime somebody gets up to the plate. So far in the 10 games, we've had 171 plate appearances. The next you'll see is an AB or an at bat. And you'll see that number is 122, obviously lower than 171. So an at bat is every time a player goes to bat, excluding the outcome of a walk or a hit by pitch or a sacrifice fly, which we have one sacrifice fly so far, in our 10 games. So next is pitches. That's just the number of pitches that we've seen. We've seen 701 pitches so far this season, and we have 39 hits. Off those 39 hits and off of the walks and everything, we have scored 36 runs so far. We have 24 runs batted in, or RBI. So that's anytime somebody has hit the ball and somebody has scored other than an error. Okay, so you see the runs, we have 12 less RBIs than we do runs because you're not counting um, errors in there. Like if we hit the ball and somebody commits an error and somebody scores off of that error, you don't really commit that, or you don't really count that. Okay. So next is K. That's a strikeout. And we have 50 strikeouts so far on the season. Next to that is K-L. That means how many looking strikeouts do you have? And we have 17 so far, and that's what we've talked about as a team. We really want that number to be as low as possible because we don't really want to be looking at those third strikes. Sometimes it's going to happen. And as you're watching the Major League Baseball playoffs, you see sometimes it happens to all of these really, really elite athletes and elite players as well. But we want that number lower if we can. Next is BB. That's base on balls. That's the number of times that we have walked, the other team has walked us. We have 47 walks so far. Here's one comparison that I want to point out real quick. We have 47 walks with 50 strikeouts. Ideally, we want those walks to be higher than our strikeout number. Okay. If we go down to the second row, this is where we get into some of the statistics. So AVG is average. Our average is 320 as a team. So if you look at the notes, average, or a batting average, equals the number of hits divided by the number of at bats. Okay, so basically we have 39 hits divided by 122 at bats. Next to that, OB is on base percentage. On base percentage equals the number of times we have reached base by hit, by error, by walk, hit batsman, anything, divided by the number of plate appearances, or PA. So if you look at hits plus walks, plus any kind of errors that we have, anytime a hit batsman we have, and you divide that by 171, that's how you get our on base percentage of 512. So really what that means is our batting average is 320. So about 32% of the time, we are getting on base by a hit. We are getting on base 51% of the time that we go up to the plate, which is really good. That's more than half of the time that we're going up to the plate. Our slugging percentage is 459. Now, your slugging percentage is going to be higher than your batting average. And the reason is because slugging percentage looks at different things like how many bases a person gets out of each hit. So if we look at point number 6 or note number 6, this one's a little more confusing. Slugging percentage accounts for the numbers of bases reached on a hit. So basically, a single counts as 1 hit, a double counts as 2 hits, a triple counts as 3 hits, a home run counts as 4 hits. And that's all divided by number of at bats. So that's why it's higher than your average is. Next to that, OPS, that is on base plus slugging percentage. And that's always going to be the highest number. Our OPS is 971 as a team. So, really, what happened is baseball statisticians started using OPS kind of as a more complete measure of offensive statistics, especially when technology advanced to the point where pitchers could really up their performances and they knew spin rate and they knew what to throw each batter, and we had high level analytics on batters in order to kind of show overall offensive statistics or offensive input. Statisticians really started putting a lot of weight on OPS, or on base plus slugging percentage. So what will happen is when you see somebody get up to bat, you probably see two numbers that are given. You see their average, their AVG, so their average, and then their OPS. Because the average says how often, what percentage of the time they're getting up, are they getting on base via a hit? And then OPS is kind of a more full account of their overall offensive output. Okay. Next to that is QAB. That's quality at bats, and we have 82 quality at bats so far. And quality at bats can be something that if you get on base, it can count as a quality at bat. If you don't get on base, but you move a runner over, so you ground out, but the runner moves from second to third, that's a quality at bat. It can also be a 6 or 7 pitch at bat, usually counts as a quality at bat. If you have a 5 pitch at bat, but you fouled off 3 or 4 pitches, those can be a quality at bat. So that is kind of the more difficult number to pull out for a team, because it can be a little bit more subjective based on where those statistics are coming from. And all of these statistics are coming from our Game Changer, and then me comparing Game Changer with the notes that I have and everything. So next to that, we just have the quality at bat percentage. We are at 47.95. So that means 47, almost 48% of the time we go to at bat, we have a quality at bat, which is pretty good. We do want that number higher, okay? We want that number to be as high as it can be. And then that's really where we start to kind of unfold and explode offensively, okay? Next is SB, or stolen bases. We have 54 stolen bases so far. So SB, and then these last 3 columns will kind of go together. So we have 54 stolen bases. CS is caught stealing. We've been caught stealing 5 times. And then you see the slash PIK, that is pickoffs. We've been picked off 1 time. So that's when we're taking a lead, and maybe we're taking a lead at first, and they throw back and we get picked off. We get tagged out before we get back to first base. Okay. So all of that goes into your stolen base percentage. So our stolen base percentage is 91.53%, which is pretty good. Almost 92% of the time we try to steal a base, we're able to steal a base. Okay. So on to our pitching statistics. And this gets a little interesting, and I'll make some comparisons here so we can kind of see some different things. So far, we've used 9 different pitchers, okay? And of those 9 different pitchers, we've had 26 appearances. So we've played 10 games, right? But we use multiple pitchers in each game. I think we've only played 1 game where we've used 1 pitcher the whole time. So of those 9 pitchers, those 9 pitchers have made a total of 26 appearances. As a team, we have thrown 769 pitches. Now, if you look back up at the statistics for offensive, we have seen 701 pitches. We've thrown 769 pitches. So our opponents have seen 68 more pitches than we have thrown. Typically, What you want the number of pitches you have seen to be higher than the number of pitches your opponents have seen, because that shows that you are being efficient on defense. So you're not committing a lot of errors, things like that. You're being efficient on defense, and then when it's your time to bat, you're making that pitcher show you a lot of pitches. So ideally, we want that number to be a little bit closer, and eventually, we would love to see us seeing more number of pitches than throwing number of pitches. Okay. So in the 10 games we've played so far, we've played 25 innings. So that's what INN is. And we faced 193 batters. Okay. Again, if we look at batters faced for us, 193 versus the number of times we have gone to bat, which would be a PA or a plate appearance, that's 171. So we have actually, our opponents have gone to bat against us or made plate appearances against us 22 more times than we have against them. We want to make more plate appearances for our against our opponent than them against us. We've given up 58 hits so far, so that number's higher than the hits we have offensively, and we'll continue to work on that, and that number will get closer together. We are hitting this, similar number to the number of hits that we were giving up. Our opposing batting average, so this is the batting average against us, is 457. So that means when somebody gets up, when our opponents are getting up, they are reaching base 45, almost 46% of the time via some type of hit. Now, because of the way that we're keeping stats, some of the hits, some of that number 58, those hits, some of those would be errors, some of those would be considered something else. So that opponent batting average would probably be a little bit lower. But however, compare it to our batting average. Our team batting average is 320. Our opponent's batting average is 457. So once we get more into it, and once we are better able to be efficient in the field and be efficient at the plate, or I should say be productive at the plate, those numbers will be a little bit closer. Okay. Our average may rise a little bit. Opposing averages will drop a little bit. We've struck out 29 people so far, and we've walked 60. Okay. So again, you compare that to our offensive statistics. We've struck out 50 times and we've walked 47 times. So we have struck out more times than our opponents, and we've walked fewer times than our opponents, which basically means our opponents are getting on base more than we are, which allows them more opportunity for steals and to score runs. Okay. So right now we have 83 runs that we've given up, and 73 of those are earned runs. Now, again, based on the way that we're keeping statistics, some of those earned runs would be a little bit lower, because an earned run doesn't count if it's committed off of an error. If a runner reaches on an error or scores off of an error, then it doesn't go into that earned run category. But ideally, we want that number to be a little bit lower. LOB is left on base. We have left 25 opponents on base, which means we're letting a lot of people on base, but also we have kept 25 people. We've ended the inning with 25 people left on base, which is pretty good. Now, next is earned run average. So an ERA, an earned run average equals number of earned runs divided by innings pitched times 9. And this is just a figure, even though we don't play a 9-inning game, this is a figure that is calculated based on 9 innings, because that's what a typical Major League Baseball or professional game would be. So right now, our earned run average is 17.52. Now, there's only been one game that we've given up that many runs. But again, what they are looking at is, if we were to play 9 innings, that would be the expected amount of earned runs that we would give up as a pitching staff, or we would give up as a team. And as we get better and as we play more and get more used to things, and that number will come down. Okay. And and I can, at some point we'll talk about individual numbers with individual players and things like that. But the last thing I want to show everybody is WHIP, WHIP. This equals walks plus hits per innings pitched. It's a measure of how many runners a pitcher puts on base per inning. So a lower number is better. So basically, as a pitching staff, we are putting almost 5 runners on base per inning via a walk or a hit. So this doesn't include errors, but we are walking or allowing hits in an inning to allow almost 5 runners on base. Okay. So we want that number to be lower as we play more and as we get a little more used to what we're doing and we learn more about the game. But this is where we are right now. And so, again, I think it's pretty cool with the Major League Baseball playoffs going on. You'll be seeing a lot of these stats, and you can go through and maybe next time you're watching, next time you hear something, or next time you're attending a game or reading about something, you'll know a little bit more about these stats. Okay, we'll check in every once in a while as we build up more statistics, so we can go over this more, so we can learn more about the game, and then also it's a fun way to keep up with how we are doing as a team as well. Okay, Dragons, thanks a lot. See ya.